Welcome to Revelation 15. This Thursday. Thor is the sun. Before that was Wotan's Day, the Father's Day. And we go back before that, Tuesday, I forget which, that's the Divine Feminine Goddess that's associated with, I forget the actual name. But you're in 2 days, you're in a light day and a night day. It's all about duality and contrast. Prior to that was a moon day, Monday, and prior to that was the Sunday that cast light on everything, the first day of Aquarius. I can actually, truly, from the core, I can say to you, hello. They're just initials A-L-L-O. From the Latin, which I've taken from motets by Bruckner, secular motets by Bruckner. The A from L-O stands for Asperger's me, which means purify me. Libera me means free me. There's your first L. And your second L, remember you're on two souls. Your second L is Logos is there. Right here, this place. It's not a physical place, it's an internal place inside you. And that leads to the O, the organic, as it unfolds, which is Os Justi, the mouthpiece of God. I stand by what I say, and I don't really care who thinks it's egoic to say that I am the personification of a living Christ. Now, am I the Christ? Well, depends how many more of you that discover it within inside yourself. You are, after all, your own gatekeeper. You are your own grim reaper. And we live in a very much a pilgrim age. So what am I doing exactly? Apart from enjoying the moment of the tranquility, having a higher perspective. You see, the story goes that there is nothing new under the sun, which is true and not true. And reminder note to self here that I have comments on the previous video that would seem to be offering a contradictory or a different perspective that doesn't agree with what I've said, which thank you very much for that, because it is equally true. Everything is true, everything is duality. There is a duality to the duality itself. Anyway, so why have I picked here? And what is it really all about? Now, to answer that, we need to define what is speaking. Myself, I ain't got a clue. Me, and at the superficial level, I went to get firewood. The secondary reason is being up higher, I get a much bigger, much better Wi-Fi signal. So what was taking an eternity to upload has uploaded really quickly, which was Revelation 13 and now 14 and 12 and number 15, which this one is. It's an interesting one, and it's no coincidence that this is Revelation 15, because it's 1 and 5. So we're talking about the one. That's the individual, but it's also the one is the I am, the source of everything. When Nebuchadnezzar makes the claim that the supreme power that you would call the creator, that you would call God, is the human imagination, is absolutely correct. How do I know this? Well, I only need to look around. to know the answers. So that the story has to play out the same as the story has always played out, and you'll get this basic story regardless of the characters involved or the historical setting or whether it be mythological. There's always like an intermediary that goes up a mountain, we call it Moses, and then comes down with information to impart to humanity. Let's take this at a very superficial level. Hold on, I'll show you something. So this is at the material playout end. What have we got here? Well, there's just a levelling of ground. Below it slopes downward. Above, it goes to the peak. Now, I think where the mind's eye, the third eye, is on the chakra system. It's not at the very top, same as the all-seeing eye on the capstone on the pyramid. It's not at the very top, it's slightly down from the top. So what have we got here? We've got a levelling. So you could say an evening. So the evening and the morning was the first day. You see how it can be taken too literally and misunderstood. So we're evening out the ground to make a level area. This is the levelling. Now what will it be? Like I say, ask me, ask myself, I ain't got a clue. It was ostensibly to come and collect firewood and then discovering that I get a better Wi-Fi signal. That's in the material playout end. That's a very superficial level of it. But that's beautiful in itself anyway. So let's go beyond that. Let's look at the story. So we'll take Moses as the character, just to make it easy. But it's non-specific. You get somebody goes up to the mountain and then comes down with information. Well, am I not downloading? Am I not uploading to YouTube? But what is the YouTube? It's the tube that is in you that leads to your solar plexus. This is when I am is speaking directly to you through a tube, the YouTube. It's a channel and it is channeled through a vessel that is the I, the individual, in an individual form. The path chosen has led us here. I've got all the materials. Now I'm speaking as self now. I've got all the materials in the material realm that I need. Now, I could bring heavy rocks up, but there's plenty of heavy rocks that I may need to possibly put a structure. So a rock is a load, so I would be, if I'm taking them from over there, I would be downloading those rocks and placing them in a new order. So at the moment that level area is just really for a place of contemplation. It's a place for coming up, acting out on the world stage, going to seeing things from a higher perspective in the physical, being all one, alone with oneself, within oneself, having a beautiful experience in the now. So who am I is a question. I've already said, I've given you one answer, but I am is speaking through I, and I has to now translate to self, to express into the physical via the YouTube. So if we put what I've done in a sort of biblical frame reference, Moses goes up to download and to upload, to impart messages, receive messages, and bring them back down. Because when I leave here today, I will be going back down. So I'd be playing this out in the physical, so I'm playing like the part of my own intermediary to express things. So why are we not at the top? That's a physical outplay. That is a reminder, a ray-minder. you've got that one sun, an external sun, there is the light, as it were. That's a physical expression. So I'm closer to the sun. What it's also showing is you've got pretty high. You're not quite at your peak, because no, I'm not quite at my peak. This is a story as it unfolds in the present moment that I am recording and sharing. Most of it is for self to hear, because I've got to feel it, I've got to live it, I've got to breathe it, and I've got to be it. So let's just take you up to the highest point. 10 edited out. Steep, wow, moments. Like the song in Wayfaring Stranger. I know my path is rough and steep. Dark crowds will gather round me. Now the crowds could be crowds if people are wearing predominantly dark colours, congregating together into a cluster. From a distance, the crowd would look like a cloud. And of course up here, open to the elements, very much so. There could be dark clouds on a different day, on a contrasting day. Just listen. So here's the music of life. So that level area, it's a place of contemplation. It could end up as like a place to come just during the day. It may end up with a tent on it for somebody to come and stay. It could become a summer house, it could become more, it could, in time, because only time will tell, it could become like a dome on a rock, as it were. There's a natural dome here in the shape of the peak of this particular hill. I have no intentions of actually painting it gold, but it is gold because it is full of life. It's full of nature, natural. All these little roadways you can see here, they look like roads to nowhere. They're actually for stop, or they help prevent the spread of fires that can sweep right through this area, because it does get rather windy. But they would seem to be roads to nowhere, but I feel to myself, beyond doubt, any reasonable doubt, that I have satisfied that me, myself, the me is the magnetism and the electricity within the physical body, the mind. It's the co-creator part in the physical that's handed over controls through the I to the I am. So who am I? I am can only be one place. It's a present, so it's in the present, so it is. So I am is. And I am is, in most, is dreaming a story. In a physical sense, you could say that the creator is asleep, buried in Golgotha, which is your skull, in the pineal. But when that creator in your pineal is awakened and basically realizes that it's been entombed and kicks out through the back of the skull, as described by Neville Goddard, you know who you are. Now Adam in the story was the first. It means first, but I'm sure you'll appreciate in this external reality today there are many men and boys who are named Adam. So there are many Adams. It just means first. First one to plant a tree, first one to have a concept of, I'm going to invent a chair, first one to discover rhubarb leaves are poisonous and the stalks are edible, first one to discover that, you need to boil the rhubarb stalks and cook them. And a series of firsts. First to invent the telephone. You name it. You wouldn't know them from Adam, as the saying goes. So there has to be a first. There's always a first. But the story is an eternal one, like you are an eternal flame. It just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. I'm sure you appreciate the external media, in particular, will broadcast repeats. But where your attention goes, your energy flows. Basically, most of those external scripts are, do you accept this script? It's the path to self-destruction, which is where every path actually leads, because the destruction of self, it's the physical body when it destructs, it self-destructs, because it's finite, like everything else in this realm. So, whilst the one is eternal, it can only come into this reality in an actual physical form that would always be finite. But that's not to say that the one cannot be everywhere at once. It's beyond oxygen. The organic XY generator, that's the oxygen. God breathed life into Adam, did he not? Well, it's a reference to that. But it's beyond the oxygen. It is beyond the ether. It is what is behind the ether. There is nothing new under the sun. There is no thing new under the sun, because everything is finite. But the no thing is still something. It's just, you can never fully see all of that thing. You can only feel and know that you are part of that thing as an individual expression. Adrian Elise often says on her beautiful Gaia readings once a week, no more playing small. No, small, big judgments by comparison. So what would you say is a giant? Are we talking physical? Because we're not talking physical, we're talking giant, we're talking Jupiter, we're talking expansion inside oneself. There is the giant that comes. Think of it like a corporation. You'll have a president, the president will have a secretary, there will be vice presidents, there will be all sorts of advisors, and you've basically got a pyramid system. So the creator has self-delegated to a level called cherubims, seraphims, thrones, Elohim, and so on, and through archai, archangeloi, angeloi, angels, and so on. They're just self-delegated aspects. No different than if I write a story and I play all the parts as an I individual. Basically, what is happening with this any YouTube video, I am the scriptwriter, I am the storyteller, I am the one and only actor. Although nature plays the background parts, of course. I'm playing all the parts, but because I am one and I'm everywhere and yet nowhere, and this is I am, is that's speaking, channeling here. I am everywhere and nowhere at the same time, so I am playing all the parts. Creation is so I don't get bored. But who am I? I am is. Now, in the unconscious state, when the creator is not fully active, in the dream state, the daydream, which is the imagination, things happen in an unconscious way. In the same way, what led me to come up here? Ostensibly and superficially it was firewood, but it was far more than that. It was it comes from an inner knowing, a spark of inspiration. It's the flash. That's your Christ consciousness. Now, let me share an experience which many of you, I hope, can relate to. Now, imagine you're sitting on a train. The train departs at 1:44. It's now 1:30. Don't go too deep into the specifics. They are just purely to paint a picture, an analogy, because the time in that sense doesn't matter at all. The train is going from departure to destination. We'll keep it that non-specific. But if you want, you could say London to Edinburgh or whatever. So imagine you're sitting in the train, you're sat in the window seat. You're sitting in the platform. Another 14 minutes before that train's going to depart. Now your external senses will have confirmation. You may hear announcements on the platform. This is the next train on platform whatever to go to departure, leaving in 10 minutes or whatever. You may hear the whistle, you may hear the start signal audibly in the external. But we've got to 10:35. Now you're sitting in that window seat. Right next to you on the adjoining track, the parallel running track on the other platform, is another almost identical carriage, passenger carriage, another train. So it gets to 10:35 and you observe, because all you can see out the window, because it is so close, is that other train. And for that split moment, your eyes have now given you information through your visionary perception of the external that it feels like we're moving. Because you can't see beyond that other train unless you really peer deeply, and you may see through the window of that other train to the platform or any infrastructure that's on that other platform. But there's that moment where you are not certain. So what do? You look the other way. You look out the other window. You confirm to yourself what you already know inside yourself, that you aren't moving. It is the other train that's moving. But you've allowed doubt to come in because you've been convinced by an external sense of something that is not. But now here's the thing, you get a split-second glimpse through the veil, right in the middle of that. That is the point where you're not sure if you are moving and you've departed early and you've been startled by it. You may even get a sort of sensation in your belly. That's the Christ consciousness. That's a flash inside you that is going up to the brain. That is the spark. That is a peek through the veil. If you can hold that moment between the knowing and the not knowing, without doubting and being sure that you are not moving until 10:44, it's the other train that's moving. But if you can see the contrast and the duality in that, you've just had a taster, a glimpse of seeing through the veil. I don't know if that analogy has been given by anybody else through it, or by I am is speaking through another vessel, to be totally accurate with that one. But I feel it's something that many of you have maybe experienced. It may be you can do this in a car when you're at traffic lights and there's another vehicle next to you. And maybe they're in a right turn lane, so they get a green light, but yours is red. So they start moving forward, and you almost doubt yourself and think, am I rolling back? It's that same sensation, that little element of it could be, it might not be. And you're suddenly on very unsure ground, because for that split second, you're now looking to reassure yourself. Now, if we go back to the train, because that other railway carriage is up so close, you have no other point of reference because you can't see around, you can't see above the roof of that train. It is that close to your window. It's a matter of a few feet away. So there's no point of reference to see beyond the train that the background is not changing, which would confirm that there is that other train moving. I think we've dwelled long enough on that one. I think you get the point. This has turned out to be quite a long revelation. But 1 and 5, it's no coincidence, because it is 1 and just now talking about 5 senses and giving you also a very good analogy, I feel, of how easily the 5 senses in the external can be tricked into seeing something that is not. And that sensation can quickly spread. You may also experience it on a roller coaster, that anticipation through adrenaline, although it's for different reasons. It's mostly egoic thrill reasons, an adrenaline rush, but you'll get that sort of almost like a loop-the-loop butterfly flip in the stomach. Well, that's the Christ consciousness, is just guiding you. It's protecting you. It's preparing you for that sudden deep dive. And if you think about it, where the solar plexus is, it has to fall 2 places first. So that's also being played out. So yeah, we're playing the part of the intermediary to oneself. We're also playing the part of being a son of the Creator. We're also channeling the Creator, the source of the supreme power. But don't think for one moment, in fact, actually don't think at all. That's the worst thing you can do. It would be the conscious mind trying to explain things away. He's schizophrenic, he's mad, From certain perspectives, yes, it would sound totally shocking, because the ones that are most shocked have belief systems and would find this very hard to comprehend, because they have no experiences to draw on, or they're not seeing things as they truly are. But I am is dreaming a story. So I am mystery. I am a mystery, basically. That's really the name of the supreme power. Because once it's conscious, now the story is being written in real time. That is not to say that the individual I, the me and myself, don't have a certain amount of free will on ways to do things. But from experience, it is through the not thinking and allowing those mind pictures to come that provide the answers. So yes, I did get the required firewood. Yes, I did achieve the downloading, the uploading, the communication to the greater self, which is you, through the YouTube. The I am is within this tube, talking to the I am is within your tube, within YouTube. So I feel that's a good place to stop now. I've just seen, was it 28:44? These are 44 reminders. Again, the 144, that's basically 144 petals in the chakra system. I'll talk next time about playing the white man. I feel that's a good time to bring that one in. And I haven't forgotten about the sun wheel. So I'll do maybe 2 videos and then we'll be up the mountain again. Most likely the very next day. And we will be bringing the evening to the morning once more. It's metaphorically and physically acting out the story. The story that you need to find, or I would advise, it would be in your best interests to enact the same story and play the part that you wish to play. You have a free will to choose whichever part you wish to play. It doesn't matter what the external world says, thinks, or does. What counts is how do you feel? Honestly, inwardly, at your deepest, darkest depths. Big clue is, one of it is at the base of your skull, the other part is in the center of your heart. The power and the wisdom is in your gut feeling. The secret is all in the feeling, as Neville Goddard says. So I'm going to say love to you all until the next chapter, the next episode of Revelations, which will be number 16. 1 and 6 is 7.